Have you ever successfully got over a crush? And how? Sometimes when you actually get to know a person, you realize that you had an unrealistic or idealized idea of them. Ain't that the truth? This so hard. What you don't know about them, you fill with perfect ideas of them in your head. Other times, they actually do live up to your wildest fantasies, and then it really is almost impossible to move on when they dump you. I finding a new one. Parkour. The law of conservation of crush states that a crush can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only be transferred from one object of infatuation to another. This is actually really accurate. As a science nerd, I'm really digging this comment. You're not getting enough credit for this. Just know I see you and I upvote you. Also, by learning how to stop your own obsessive thinking pattern, behavioral modification is a thing. So just get over it then. Okay. Behavioral modification can involve other stuff beside not thinking about it. Yes. Get over it by choosing not to think about it. These dark thoughts, these obsessive thoughts are antagonistic negative thoughts. Ants. You're the only one in control of the thoughts that occur in your mind. You can choose to replace unwanted thoughts with more pleasant and distracting thoughts. Suddenly dwelling on something hard. Shake yourself out mentally, say to yourself, okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to visualize and think of that adorable happy golden retriever with a butterfly on his nose. And picture it. Think about how enjoyable it is and what joy the pupper was experiencing. Your thoughts are your choice. Time and distance. The less I see them, the less I think about them. Out of sight, out of mind. I live in another state now, and after several years, I don't see or think about her anymore. By the end of quarantine, I'll probably forget who my crush is. Takes about 5 years sometimes. You can't really put a timeline on it, everyone's different and every situation is unique. I've often seen the equation half the time of the relationship is what it takes to move on, and I call bullshit. But ultimately time does win out. You just have to keep strong until it does. And typically in the end you look back and wonder what all the fuss was about. I remember how many times I have been in love in my life. Totally convinced that I would only ever have feelings for this one person, and then remember how in each and every one of those cases I ended up getting over them. There are a lot of beautiful, interesting, smart, wonderful people in this world, and the only way to meet the ones that are interested in you is to move on from the ones that aren't. Thank you so much. I'm struggling right now. I'm in love with my ex. She's with a new guy who seems perfect for her. I actually give a shit about her happiness, but I regret so much that I wasn't that guy. I'll move on. I've done it once before, I'll do it again. Thank you. Getting over a crush, and I share that sentiment. I really wish she'd have felt the same. I quit Instagram because I found myself going through texts and his profile a bit too much. Hope we get over this soon, smiley face. Distancing yourself is a good step to moving on. I blocked all communication with a girl I was having a hard time getting over, and while it was painful for a while, I eventually moved on. You shoot your shot knowing it won't hit target. Do it anyway to get it over with. Then you can move on forever. This is wise advice right here. This. Exactly what I did. I asked her out, knowing she'd say no. Once I got rejected, I lost all interest. I had a crush on her from the time I was 6 years old to the day I asked her out around 18 years old. And I thought my crush time period was long. Easy. You tell them you like them, get rejected, wallow in sadness for a couple of weeks, and then poof. Crush is gone. You make it sound like a medicine dose. Symptoms will vanish in 2 weeks. As dumb as it sounds, I have found that it does kind of work like that. I asked my crush out and got insanely rejected. She ended up making up lies that I was stalking her and so forth. Hurt me more than the crush itself. That phase didn't really go away. I knew I didn't like her anymore, but part of me still had a feeling. A friend asked her out, and she humiliated him the same way she did with me. The feeling went away right away after the friend told me 6 years later, since he didn't want me to hate him for asking her out. Well, that's just fucked up. Yup. Many times, and it's one of the ways I get over breakups too. I remind myself that they aren't perfect. They have flaws. It might seem rude, but I'll point out all the things that annoyed bothered me about them. I remember things they did that were toxic or mean, and that shines a different perspective on them. I had a big crush on a girl and even went out on some dates. One of which was a Valentine's Day weekend sleepover date. Somehow I didn't even get a kiss. Wild, but I went all out, spent over $100 making her cookies that she could eat, vegan, and had many other dietary restrictions, and made her some really thoughtful gifts. Long story, but anyways. Afterwards she had been kinda mean, but I ignored it. When we broke things off I was very sad, and since we honestly were very compatible and had nearly everything, interest-wise, in common, I still felt like she was perfect. Dude, once I really started thinking about her I went from that to realizing she wasn't very bright and she was quite childish and disrespectful. She wasn't very nice to me, and a lot of her comments were actually pretty belittling. That made me realize that I'm much better off without her and that she's only human. There's no reason to waste my emotions crying over her. I suggest doing that. Remember your worth. Your crush is just a person and they are not as perfect as you think they are. Once you start thinking about their flaws, you might come to find that you dodged a bullet like I did. Good luck. If I point out imperfections, it just makes me realize that they are a real person and I begin to love them rather than just liking them. Just wait 10 years and let them gain 100 pounds or so. Playing the long game, nice. Or if you're in high school, just 4 years max. Mine did. In high school she was really into running and track. Skinny and fit. I asked her out and got rejected. She spread rumors too. Years later I am at a mall with my mom. I recently had an accident, broke some bones and had a hard time walking, so my mom was helping me. That girl passed by and she did this somewhat double take on me, probably because I was in a cast. I barely recognized her. My mom noticed too and said, "Hey Andrew dude, isn't that the girl in HS that you asked out once and she rejected and spread rumors?" I answered, "I guess it is." And my mom answered, "Don't worry, you dodged a big bullet there." I don't think I laughed so hard on someone's misfortune as I did that day. Karma got her back for sure. That'd be brutal if your mom did that within earshot of your former crush. Except that things didn't work out, which is one of the harder things to do. Then find better things to do. Hang out with friends, go to parties, listen to songs you like. Have fun. See how life is still enjoyable without them. Or decide to spend the time you'd spend thinking about them on something new and worthwhile, catch up with your family, learn a new hobby. Do something that will make yourself proud of you. Build up your self-confidence, your skill set, your current friendships. But if you don't find anything good or meaningful to do, then you're just stuck feeling like shit all the time. You can always find meaningful things to do. Like volunteering at a food bank. The work is a great distraction. It's about having the motivation to do those things. Which can be difficult when you are missing someone. I lack the motivation to take a shower most days, let alone something bigger. I hope it gets better for you. Start small, like a daily walk. It's going to be tough at first, but it gets easier as it becomes routine. Rooting for you. Just say, love is gay. It worked for me and now I'm cured. Just tried it and now I turned gay, thanks asshole. Still worked, didn't it? Now it unattracted her. I realized that I was never destined to be in a relationship. So I moved on. That's a good way to ensure that you actually won't be in a relationship. You just gotta cut the sad boy bullshit, gain self-confidence and put yourself out there. What you are doing is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not the person you replied to, but I just feel like I don't have it in me. Not as in boohoo it's my destiny to be lonely, but as in I don't have the time, energy, social skills, emotional skills, passion, personality to make someone happy, so it'd just be disappointing to both of us. Maybe someday I'll work my way up to a better place. But I'm not betting on it. She got married and pregnant. At some point you gotta admit, you're probably not the guy.